Welcome to the podcast series, Small Business Survival Conversations. Through our weekly conversations, we hope to provide you with strategies and insights, knowledge and expertise to enlighten you as you work to build and grow your business.
Good morning, business warriors. I'm your host, Anna Steinfest, and welcome back to Small Business Survival Conversations, the podcast for entrepreneurs, dreamers, builders, and fighters who keep showing up even when the road gets hard. It's Monday morning, a new week, a fresh start. And before we dive into today's lesson, I want to share a quote that has inspired people for more than 2,000 years. And the quote goes like that: "The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones." And that is by Confucius. So I want you to think about that. Not a bulldozer, not a miracle, not some overnight success story. A mountain is moved one stone at a time. And if you're a business owner listening today, that may be exactly what you need to hear. Because most of us are carrying a mountain right now. A mountain of responsibilities, a mountain of goals, a mountain of bills, a mountain of expectations. And sometimes that mountain feels so big, we don't even know where to start. But today, I want to tell you a story. A story you've probably heard before, but maybe never quite like this. So here we go. Many years ago, there was a poor old man who lived in a village beside two enormous mountains. Every day, those mountains blocked the sunlight from his home. Every trip to town meant a long journey around them. The mountains made life harder for everyone. One day, the old man picked up a shovel and began digging. His neighbor laughed. "What are you doing?" they asked. "I'm moving the mountains," he replied. The villagers thought he had lost his mind. The mountains were enormous. The old man was old. The task was impossible. One neighbor laughed and said, "You'll die long before those mountains move." The old man smiled. "Perhaps I will. But my children will continue, and their children after them. The mountains will not grow, but our efforts will." Every day he moved a few stones, a few rocks, a little dirt. Nothing dramatic, nothing impressive, nothing that would make the evening news. Yet every day he returned, and every day the mountain became slightly smaller. And business warriors, isn't that exactly how business feels sometimes? You start the year with big goals, more customers, more revenue, better systems, a stronger brand, less stress. But then Monday arrives. And instead of moving a mountain, you are answering emails, returning calls, fixing mistakes, chasing invoices, handling complaints. Suddenly, it feels like you're getting nowhere. The mountain still looks enormous. The dream still feels far away. And that's where many people quit. Not because they aren't capable, not because they aren't talented, but because they underestimate the power of small stones. We live in a world obsessed with big moments. We celebrate the company that suddenly has the huge contract, the viral post, the overnight success, but what we don't see are the thousands of small stones that came before it. The early mornings, the difficult conversations, the rejected proposals, the follow-up calls, the late nights, the lessons learned from failure. Success rarely happens overnight. It accumulates. Just like interest in a bank account, just like tree growing from a seed, just like a mountain disappearing one stone at a time. I've worked with small business owners for years through the Green Bay Packers Mentor Protege program, through coaching and training, through this very podcast, and I've noticed something. The business owners who succeed are not always the smartest, not always the most talented, not always the most connected. They are simply the ones who keep carrying stones. Think about planting a tree. If you plant a seed today and come back tomorrow, what do you see? Nothing. A week later, still nothing. A month later, maybe very little. Does that mean growth isn't happening? Of course not. The roots are growing. The foundation is forming. The work is happening on the ground. Many of you are in the root growing season right now. You're learning, you're building, creating systems, developing relationships. And because the growth isn't visible yet, you think nothing is happening. But something is happening. You're becoming the person capable of running the business you want tomorrow. One of the greatest mistakes entrepreneurs make is comparing their chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. You didn't see the stones they carried. You didn't see the failures. You didn't see the setbacks. You only see the mountain after it's already being moved. Business warriors, let me tell you a secret. Big wins are often disguised as small daily habits. You want more customers? Make an extra follow-up call every day. You want stronger finances? Review your numbers every week. You want a stronger network? I want you to reach out to one new person this week. You want a better business? You have to improve one thing every single day. Small actions repeated consistently create extraordinary outcomes. And that is not motivation. That's mathematics. And here's what I love most about the old man's story. He didn't focus on the mountain. He focused on the next stone. That's where so many entrepreneurs get stuck. They're staring at the annual revenue goal, the 5-year plan, the overwhelming challenge, and because the mountain seems impossible, they do nothing. Instead, I want you to ask yourself this. What is the next stone? Not the whole mountain, just the next stone. One phone call, one proposal, one customer visit, one improvement, one conversation, one step forward. Because progress is not always dramatic. Sometimes progress looks boring. Sometimes it looks repetitive. Sometimes it looks invisible. But invisible progress is still progress. And every successful entrepreneur eventually learned this. Consistency beats intensity. I'm going to repeat it. Consistency beats intensity. You don't need one perfect day. You need many ordinary days done well. So, as we start this week, I want you to remember the wisdom of Confucius. The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. Your mountain may seem impossible today, but it isn't moved in one day. It's moved one stone at the time, one customer at the time, one decision at the time, one lesson at the time, one day at the time. And before you know it, you look back and realize you've moved something that once seemed impossible. So your action step for this week, I want you to identify one mountain in your business, just one, not 5, not 10. Ask yourself, what is the smallest stone I can move today? Write it down. Before the day ends, move that stone. Not tomorrow, not next week. I want you to do this today. Because momentum begins with movement. And mountains are moved by people who refuse to stop carrying stones. Thank you for spending your Monday morning with me. If this message encouraged you, share it with another business owner who needs a reminder that progress is still progress, even when it's slow. And remember, business warriors, the mountain isn't moved by one giant effort. It's moved by thousands of small ones. I'm Anna Steinfest, and this is Small Business Survival Conversation. Now go move a stone. And I wish you have an incredible week.
You've been listening to the Small Business Survival Conversation podcast. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode. In the meantime, hook up with us on our Facebook group at Small Business Survival Tools and Tips. Till next time, thank you for listening.